You just say. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for this year exciting 27th annual HCCW Salute to Hispanic Women Conference and Latina Leadership Award Luncheon. We are honored to have each and every one of you with us today for this deeply meaningful and important event. My name is Natalia Bonilla, and I'm the HCCW Director of the Latina Leadership Series and Associate Director of Economics and Workforce Development at the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Maritza Contreras, and I am the Director of Administrative Management Services at your Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Wisconsin. But before we get so carried on celebrating this beautiful event, I would just like to ask you for a huge favor. It is one of our HCCW staff members' birthday today. Miss Erica Steele, can you please just wave your hand back there? So as you can imagine, my favorite entails singing happy birthday to this amazing woman who just puts so much work and effort every single day for the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. So happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Erica. Happy birthday to you. Thank you guys so much. She's going to hate me for it afterwards, but I'm okay with it. Just going to roll. So today we're here to celebrate and to honor and, of course, to recognize all of the amazing Latina leaders in our communities and all of the small businesses, small and large businesses in our government and, of course, in our families. It's such a privilege. We look at so much of the influence that we've had here that's growing so much in the state of Wisconsin and, of course, across the nation, and it just makes us so proud to be celebrating such a unique event here today. And now, when we think about what Latina means, we think of hopefully learning how to use mics, okay? But we think of vibrancy, we think of just beauty, inside and out. We think of power, we think of determination, leadership, and balancing, because we just balance so many different things in our lives day in and day out, and it's just such amazing work to see and to admire. We have such a unique combination of culture and dynamic elements that go into what it means to be a Latina. And in celebrating this special event today, we're so very grateful that you guys are all here to make sure that we have this voice and representation saying we're here, we're standing strong, and we have so many people that empower one another, and we're so very proud to have all of you together in this room today helping us celebrate this beautiful event, Salute to Hispanic Women Conference and Awards Luncheon.
And now, we welcome to the podium Sister Celestine Chow from the Alverno College Career Education Center. Sister Chow. Sister Chow has attended this Salute to Hispanic Women Conference for the last 15 years, and we are honored to have her with us for the invocation today.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon. This is my privilege to be here. It's my 15th Salute to Hispanic Women. And so they have asked me to the invocation, and let us, in our own way, center down and think of the maker of heaven and earth. Almighty God, you are creator of the sun, moon, and stars and this vast universe. And yet, you are the creator of each one of us. As in Scripture we read, You knew me when you knit me in my mother's womb, and you know me to this moment. And so, loving God, bless each person who is here and grant their petitions that they have in their hearts. And in this Pentecost season, please send us the gift of the Holy Spirit. Give us wisdom as we make decisions using our leadership skills. Give us understanding that we may interact with others in a very humane way. And please help us to listen to your inspirations. And we turn to the Mother of God, Our Lady of Guadalupe, and we ask you, Our Lady of Guadalupe, to take these petitions to your Son and grant us what we are asking. And ask Jesus to bless this food before us and to give strength and good health to the persons who have prepared it and who are serving us now. And may each of us enjoy the company with each other as we partake of this bounty. Amen. Okay.
Thank you so much, Sister Celestine, for that beautiful invocation. So please enjoy your beautiful and deliciously looking lunch prepared to you by banquet sous chef Laureano Satian under the executive leadership of Chef Brian Frakes here at the beautiful and historic Pfister Hotel. Can we just give him a round of applause for this amazing food? So if I can divert your attention for just 1 second over to my right, your left, there's this amazing group of individuals waiting to play incredible music for you all. We have the privilege of having the Falls Baptist Music School Quartet +1. So now we have 5 individuals here. These individuals have been playing with one another since the age of 5. So isn't that incredible? Very, very talented. They've been, for the past 15 years, have been going around the country sharing their beautiful talents, and we're even at Governor Scott Walker inaugural ceremony at the state capitol in this 2015. They're just such an amazing and talented group of individuals. They do such a great job at becoming teachers themselves, and they're so involved and invested in teaching and passing on the culture of music onto the children in our community, and for that we're very, very grateful. So without further ado, please enjoy your lunch and help me welcome the Falls Baptist Music School Quartet +1.
We also have a meal prepared for you. A music meal. So for our appetizer this afternoon, we have Tango by Isaac Albanese. Thank you so much. So now we continue in our meal, our musical meal. We had our appetizer, we had our little salad soup. Now here's the main course. Liber Tango by Astor Piazzolla. Thank you. Now, at my house, my mom does excellent cooking. And what I like to do is go for seconds. So how about it, folks? Should we try it again? Liber Tango, round 2 by Piazzolla from the Falls Baptist String Quartet +1. One more. And that will be it. Should we actually scratch that? Mom said no seconds. So time to say goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. One more round of applause for our Quartet Plus One, Falls Church School musicians. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Outstanding. It's great to see young Latino talent emerging and evolving. Damas y caballeros, Lieutenant Governor Kleefisch, Maria, Cecilia, outstanding HCCW partner, Johnson Controls, Grady Crosby, who's with us here today, Joaquin from Town Bank, and the entire team from Town Bank, and so many more of each and every one of you honored guests here with us today. To reflect on our very first Latina leadership experience, we think of nuestras madres, abuelitas, tías y hermanas, our mothers, grandmothers, aunts, and sisters, all of whom provide for and contribute to a comfortable home full of love and understanding, and who contribute to our strong sense of Hispanic values and culture. These Latina leaders ultimately provide unconditional support and embed within us a strong will to advance and succeed. In today's global economy, Latinas continue to exceed in countless ways, in business, in numerous professions, as entrepreneurs, employers and investors, and as leaders throughout this entire community. Indeed, Latinas have emerged to lead and drive outstanding growth in new business startups, and today outpace the growth rate in terms of startups ahead of all other groups. Today, we gather to celebrate the uniqueness of what it is to be Latina with a sold-out crowd, thanks to each and every one of you. A panel discussion of outstanding Latina leaders and two very special honorees. We honor a very unique and accomplished Latina who gives so much to our Hispanic community. We also honor a woman who is a leader and dear friend of the HCCW and who certainly qualifies for her well-deserved honorary Latina designation. Both leaders serve to enrich and advance Wisconsin's entire Hispanic community. I also want to take a very brief moment and introduce to you another very special Latina. As I mentioned a moment ago, Latinas today are so advanced and doing so much, driving so much influence in our economy. We also have Latinas involved in all other facets of life. This past year, as many of you know, we've been deeply engaged in workforce investment, workforce development, and have had a training initiative underway thanks to our partner ITW Miller Electric and numerous other partners who have come together, MATC, who's here with us today, and so many others. I want to introduce and ask you to please draw your attention to my right, your left, and that is Samantha Trancoso. Samantha, please wave. I know you're seated and you can't stand right now, but she's here just to my side. Please, a round of applause for Samantha. Samantha recently emerged as a graduate in the HCCW Welder Training Initiative and had an abundance of offers as a result of testing very, very well after her graduation. And I understand now has accepted a position with Manitowoc Crane as one of the top Latina welders that'll be joining that company. I also want to take a moment to say thank you to the HCCW team whose tireless hard work enables us to celebrate Latina leadership here today. We also thank our leaders who make up the HCCW Salute to Hispanic Women Committee for their outstanding guidance, collaboration, assistance, and support. I ask the entire HCCW team and Salute Committee to please stand and be recognized. Ladies, please. Thank you. I see you. Thank you very much, Sheila. Thank you. I see Alma over here. Thank you very much. And of course, under the guidance and direction of Erica, who does a great job, and Natalia, who's also deeply involved in the Latina Leadership Series and other activities. Without this team, we just simply would not exist. We also thank our lead signature sponsor, Town Bank, including the leadership of Town Bank CEO Jay Mack and Joaquin Altoro, and the entire Town Bank team who are here with us today. Please, a round of applause for you. We are grateful for their generous and outstanding support of the HCCW and of our Hispanic community. Without their partnership, we would not be here today. We owe a debt of gratitude to other sponsors as well, whose logos you see featured today in our digital presentation. We greatly appreciate your generosity as well. Once again, thank you to each and every one of you for your outstanding support of your Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and for being with us here today. And now, I introduce to you our MC for today's Salute to Hispanic Women Latina Leadership Luncheon. She is an exciting and dynamic Latina and a very good friend of the HCCW who is a successful leader herself. She is Ms. Sandra Torres, on-camera talent and an outstanding journalist reporting for CBS 58 News and co-anchor for Telemundo Wisconsin. Sandra was born and raised in Colombia and moved to the United States with her family in 1997. She is fully bilingual, very proud of her culture, and extremely passionate about issues that relate to Wisconsin's Hispanic community. Please join me in a warm welcome and a warm Latina welcome for Telemundo's Sandra Torres.
Thank you so much. I know that it's cliche to say, but it is an honor to be here today. This is my second year participating in this event, and it is so nice to see how after 3 years being here in Milwaukee, after becoming more involved with the Latino community, how I see so many familiar faces. And it's so awesome to see and also to meet new faces as well. Already, just sitting with the panelists, I got 3 stories. And that's the best thing about it. You know, I just connect with other Latinas and with other professionals here in Milwaukee, and it's not just in Milwaukee, all over Wisconsin, so it's really, really great. And I want to thank Jorge, of course, for inviting me for the organization. They really do believe in leadership, and their programs are doing a great difference here in the Milwaukee area and all over Wisconsin as well. So as we proceed with the program, I'd like to bring up the birthday girl, Miss Erica Steele. I know she's gonna hate me for that too, I'm sorry. I didn't know it was your birthday, you didn't say anything. Do you know that Friday night she was still working late in the night, all weekend? I got the script from her almost midnight, so she's been working really hard to put this together, so congratulations. And I'm gonna bring her up now because if you don't know her, she's the HCCW Director of Vocational Services and Latino Empowerment. She's an outstanding, charismatic leader, certainly an honorary Latina. Did you know she speaks Spanish? She's amazing. She comes on our show all the time to share about all the programs that they're having at HCCW, and it is really great to introduce her to you tonight. So here she is, Erica Steele.
Thank you, Sandra, and thank you for the most unique birthday I've ever had. Very surprised. So before we begin our traditional candle ceremony today, I encourage you to look at your table at the beautiful reflection card that you have inside of your program for today's event. This card was designed by a great friend of the HCCW, Sandra Dempsey of Telemundo, Wisconsin, and Tahani Ayub. And on the front cover, there is a quote, and that quote says, "The past is history, the future is a mystery, and the present is a gift." As you participate in today's conference and listen to our panelists of amazing Latina leaders, I encourage you to be present, to ask yourself the 3 questions on the back of the card, and to take a moment to pause and reflect on what you have learned and what you have gained as an individual today. Take this card home with you and use it as your first step to start that project that you've always been thinking of, to go after your dream job, or to reach out to that new contact that you met today. Now is your time to take the next step to achieve your goals and dreams, and a large purpose of why we gather here today. Thank you again, Sandra Dempsey and Tahani Ayub, for your beautiful card. And now, I invite you to stand. Please, I invite you to stand. Please look to your table for a single candle in your table setting. They're flameless, turn them on. Take this candle and lift it together. As we gather here today, we take a moment out of our continuously busy lives to unite as a community, as a familia, as a sisterhood. Each and every one of us is a leader in our own right, whether that be at home, at work, or in our community. We humbly serve as sisters, mothers, co-workers, directors, CEOs, and change agents. Those who ignite fires for the causes we passionately believe in, and those who extinguish fires to provide peace and stability for those who need it most. We each bring our own sabor, our sazon, our adobo, our tajín, our unique flavor to everything we do to brighten and to enrich our community. Today, we celebrate Latinas, the Latinas of 2015, the Latinas of our past, and the Latinas of our future. May we continue to grow, prosper, and unite as one under the common mission of empowerment and the betterment of our world. Thank you. And we would also like to take a moment, if we could please have all of the men in our audience stand today. Men, could we have you stand? Thank you. A big round of applause for all the men we have in the audience today. Men, the men in our audience today, we would like to thank you because we know that no community stands on one pillar alone. Thank you for being with us today and supporting the women that we have here in this room and in our community. Thank you once again. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Erica. And now we have the exciting program that's about to begin. And I want to remind you, before we introduce our keynote speaker, that we are very involved with social media, of course. And so, first of all, I want to encourage you that throughout the event, if you have questions for the panelists that are about to come up, these Latina leaders, if you have a question, you can do so using either Twitter or Facebook. And we have a hashtag going on right now. So the hashtag is hashtag HCCW Salute 2015. HCCW Salute 2015. And we're going to be following your questions, your comments. We're certainly going to try to put them up during the panel discussion that's coming up. But if you don't do so already, you can follow us on Twitter, which is @_HCCW, or on Facebook, Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Wisconsin. And not only do they share events coming up, pictures from events, they also share tips for business owners. They have excellent advice. So if you want to follow them as well, that would be great. And now we're going to introduce you to a dynamic leader to the stage. I'm hoping everybody here knows who I'm talking about. It's the Honorable Rebecca Kleefisch. And the Lieutenant Governor herself is an entrepreneur, a former small business owner, and we share something in common. She was a former on-camera news reporter. And so she serves now as Wisconsin's 44th Lieutenant Governor, and she was elected in 2010. She's widely credited for coining the phrase, "Wisconsin is open for business." She played a key role from day one in business growth and retention for Wisconsin, cold calling Illinois businesses that, in turn, relocated to Wisconsin. And she also responds to businesses in search and in need of support. Rebecca serves as Wisconsin's Jobs Ambassador. She spearheads the governor's small business summits and tax reform roundtables as well. She serves as an economic development liaison and advocate for small business owners. She chairs the task force on minority unemployment for the Wisconsin Council on Workforce Investment and also the manufacturing committee for the Aerospace States Association. And indeed, the lieutenant governor recently toured the Astronautics, which is one of the state's outstanding high-tech success stories. And she was able to command the state-of-art flight simulation technology, so that's really cool. And I understand she may be asked actually to serve as an honorary chairwoman of the emerging HCCW Aerospace Council. So she's been recognized with a Courage in Leadership Award by the Faith and Freedom Coalition, also a Woman of Exceptional Courage Award from the Claire Booth Luce Police Policy Institute. And she's a colon cancer survivor. She's a graduate of the University of Wisconsin-Madison. She's the mother of 2 daughters, Ella and Violet, and she lives in Oconomowoc with her husband, State Representative Joe Kleefisch. So, damas y caballeros, honored guests, please help me in welcoming Honorary Latina, the Honorable Rebecca Kleefisch.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Poor Sandra got the really, really long bio. Okay, everybody smile. Okay, good? All right, hashtag HCCW Salute 2015. Everyone join me on Twitter now. You don't have to follow me, just retweet that tweet when I tweet it. Thank you, everyone. Latinas and honorary Latinas and guys, thank you so much for having me here today. I am so excited to be here because I spent the morning with one of our outstanding Latina elected officials, Jessie Rodriguez, and we went to MATC this morning, which was wonderful. MATC representing at Table 23. We started out in their criminal justice school where Jessie and I killed a couple of bad guys in there. It wasn't even a simulator. We actually legitimately, we took down some bad guys. And then after that, we got to take a look at their fantastic manufacturing, both their CNC operations and their welding facilities, which were spectacular and made even more spectacular by the fact that with a partnership with the Hispanic Chamber, Jorge, thank you, we now have wonderful welders from this partnership all across the great state of Wisconsin. Thank you so much for your work, Hispanic Chamber. We're so proud of that. We're also proud of our business owners. So after that, the representative and I sat down for a small business roundtable. There were folks from all walks of life. The hospitality industry, there was a hotel owner there, manufacturers, several of them, some economic development professionals, some folks in education, construction company owner, and then finally a 34-year-old woman. Her name was Sandra, and she was a restaurateur. The thing that perhaps impressed me the most was that she was a second-generation restaurateur. And if you know the life of a restaurant owner, you know that it is a difficult life. And it's a life of dedicating your heart and your soul to your customers. Well, when her folks started their first restaurant down in Racine, Sandra remembered working hard in the hospitality industry from the time she was a kid on up. She told the representative and I that it really should be a requirement for everyone to work in the hospitality industry at one time or another in their life. And I kind of agreed because I remember my time working in the hospitality industry, and I know that Sandra would never make her employees wear both overalls and a sombrero to advertise the new Angus beef promotion. I did both. I also remember the time that I had to split the difference between being a hostess one night and being a dishwasher and a busser on the other nights. It teaches you humility. It teaches you hard work. It teaches you dedication. Things that I saw that Sandra had in droves. And when we asked her about her background, she told us one other thing. Not only was she a second-generation restaurateur, she was a second-generation American. Her parents were from China and Mexico, which makes me really want to eat at Sandra's restaurant. She told us that she was struggling finding young people to come and work for her people with the soft skills to be able to succeed in the hospitality industry. And we told her that one of the things that we admire most about the business owners that came to this roundtable was their dedication to the American dream. Sandra clearly had a deep one that is shared by Latina business owners across this country. And today, I am proud to tell you, there are almost 788,000 Latina-owned businesses across the country. That number is up 46% since 2002. Amazing statistics. And we know that Hispanic business owners are creating businesses at a rate of 10 times that of the rest of the population. Amazing entrepreneurship. But what's interesting is that there are a lot of Fortune 500 companies that have begun to miss out on one of the most talented resources in America, Latinas in the C-suite. And so when I was looking up a Forbes article today from 2012 talking about the phenomenon of the great untapped resource in the corporate boardrooms of America, I came across this quote. It was from Maria Sastra. She's the COO for Signature Flight Support. She's also a board member of Darden Restaurants and Publix Supermarkets. Her parents, from Cuba. She said that she grew up knowing that she was in charge of her own life. She said this, "I knew early on that there are no handouts in life. I owned my success." Latinas, you own your success, and Wisconsin thanks you very much for taking charge of it. That's good news for, you can clap for that. That's good news for Wisconsin's economy. But I would also argue to you that it's good news for the young women who are growing up looking up to you. I was on Facebook the other day and I came across one of my former colleagues in news, and actually Channel 58, and she had posted a picture of herself and a friend in one of those photo booths, you know, where they hold up those little chalkboard signs and they say something clever. Her sign said, "Power women, empower women." And I thought that's very true. For those of you who have had a mentor in life, chances are you've had someone who is willing to reach a hand back and share in her success. There are a lot of people who believe that women spend most of their lives judging other women. I say not so. In fact, we should develop the reputation for helping other women, reaching a hand back so that others can learn the lessons that you learned. Because if they learn those lessons, they'll have an easier time jumping over the hurdles that are sometimes in place just naturally. I think about the fact that when I was a small business owner, I remembered my father's advice to me. When I was in news, I was given some important advice too. I was a news anchor once upon a time. If you live in the metro Milwaukee area, you may remember that a long time ago, I worked the morning show, WISN TV. I was the news anchor there. And news anchors, Sandra will tell you, one of the 10 most hated professions in America. Uniquely prepared me for my job today in politics, also one of the 10 most hated professions in America. But in the middle of that, I was a small business owner, learning about the trials of doing business and starting off, striking out in charge of your own American dream right here in Wisconsin. But before that, when I was making my choice about whether to stay in TV news or go home to be with my daughter, I came across a woman who is so wise. She gave me a bit of advice that I share with you today. I had my first daughter in 2003, and I realized at that time that I would face a choice because I did my morning show and I came home, but in the meantime, I had to figure out a way to have her cared for. My husband left for work, and it ended up that we needed a babysitter. And for some moms, that's a perfect solution. For others, not so much. For me, it was an opportunity to ask my bosses of a very large corporation if I could go part-time. Well, that wasn't really done when I was in television news. And so when I approached my bosses with this question, they said, well, that's interesting, but we've put a lot of money into your advertising campaign, and we understand that you would like to go part-time, but how about instead we'll give you more money? And I thought, oh, okay. I didn't really want to negotiate with more money. I wanted to negotiate with more time. And so I went home and I told my husband about this. He said, make another go at it. And so I did. I went back and I said, well, how about if you cut my salary in half? There's a sound effect there. And you let me go part-time. And he said, okay. How about more money? And I went down to the set, and I sat next to a woman I respect, whose advice I take today. She had made the choice to stay in news and raise her children. And she said, Becky, you can have it all. You just can't have it all at once. It empowered me to make a choice that changed my life. I left my job, and I left a $20,000 raise sitting on the anchor desk. I went home to start my own small business. That advice, though, is good advice for any woman making choices, because you do it every single day. You are the mothers and the daughters and the sisters and the wives of America, and you have tremendous power. You are 53% of this electorate. You make 85% of the consumer household decisions in America. You make 89% of the banking decisions. You make 92% of the vacation decisions and 93% of the food decisions, and that is why there are chocolates on that table. Either that or Jorge's just trying to charm us. It worked. You are incredibly powerful. Power women, empower women. You can have it all. You just can't have it all at once. In this photograph, there was another woman pictured, the photo of my former colleague. She was holding a different sign, a final lesson, I suppose, in my life. It was a quote from John Maxwell. Most of you know him as a great leadership speaker, and probably you also know him as a pastor. Said, dreams don't work unless you do. Latinas, you work harder than any Americans I know. Thank you so much for doing it here in Wisconsin. Thank you so much, and may God bless your work.
Thank you so much. I can't tell you how much I can connect with what you just said. It's a really hard industry that we work in, but I think any woman can relate regardless of the industry. I don't have a family yet, but I'm sure once I do, I may have to,
Oh, they let you go part-time.
I may have to look at my priorities, so it's really interesting that you bring it up. Yes, all right, so before you go, HCCW would like to give you a token of appreciation for taking the time to come in out here today, speaking to all of these folks here. So here's a small gift for coming today. All right, and here's another favorite part of the evening, what am I talking about? It's still daylight. Okay, so we are going to have an amazing panel for you right now of 6 very talented women who are gonna come up here and really share their experiences. So I'm going to introduce them one by one, and this is the part of the evening where you have, or evening, I keep saying that, I'm so sorry. Part of the afternoon where you have the opportunity to ask questions. So please go to Twitter or Facebook, okay? HCCW Salute 2015. I already tweeted. I know you can too. Okay. First up, Ms. Jessie Rodriguez, Wisconsin State Representative. She was born in El Salvador, moved to the United States with her family in 1984, so I feel we can relate, in the midst of a civil war. And she came to America and provided many opportunities for her and her family. And hard work and dedication to education was the key to capitalizing on those opportunities. She's a graduate of Marquette University. She served as outreach coordinator for Hispanic School for Choice before being elected to the 21st District Assembly seat in November of 2013. So here she is, Jessie Rodriguez. Next up, Ms. Jocasta Samarripa. Wisconsin Representative Jocasta Samarripa made history in November 2010 by becoming the first Latina to be elected to the Wisconsin legislature. She was born and raised in Milwaukee, and prior to her candidacy for the 8th Assembly District, she worked as a community outreach coordinator for Planned Parenthood of Wisconsin. So please help me in welcoming Wisconsin State Representative Jocasta Samarripa. Of course. Now I'd like to introduce you to Ms. Camille Solberg. She's a passionate communicator. If you see her out in any event, she is on fire. She is great, dedicated to educating and influencing the public on a wide range of social issues. And she has long prided herself on serving as a bridge builder between communities and their elected officials. She founded the Hispanic American Council of Wisconsin. She has chaired multiple committees, including the Wisconsin Hispanic Coalition, the Wisconsin Hispanic Coalition. She's also served as Hispanic State Chairperson for Wisconsin during 2004 Bush-Cheney presidential campaign. And she's now a campaign advisor for Senator Ron Johnson. So please come on up. Next, we have Rebecca Lopez. She's an associate on Godfrey and Kahn, SC's Labor and Employment and Immigration Law Office, and this is right here in Milwaukee. Rebecca assists clients with a wide variety of labor and employment matters, wage and hour claims, employment discrimination, and conducting internal investigations involving employees. So she has represented employers in matters before equal rights, and here she is, Rebecca Lopez. Come on up. Rachel Campos Duffy. Rachel is an author and television personality. She was just telling me that she's a contributor to the Today Show, and she's from Wausau. So how cool is that? She goes to New York all the time. She's the national spokesperson for the Libre Initiative, a nonprofit that educates and advocates for the economic empowerment of Hispanics. Her television credits, as I just mentioned, NBC's Today Show, Fox News Outnumbered. She's been a guest repeatedly for parenting and relationship advice. So please help me in welcoming Rachel Campos Duffy. Ms. Carla Terrazas, you may be familiar with her. All the chocolates that you see on the table, those little gift baskets, thanks to Ms. Carla and her sisters. She's a small business owner, such a cool story, member of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Wisconsin. Her business is Terrazas Cakes and Pastries, which she owns with her two sisters, as I mentioned, Aida and Karina, and they were awarded for the HCCW Startup Award. If you were at the gala, you may have seen a video telling their story. She's from Mexico City, moved to Milwaukee in 2001. She enjoys life in Wisconsin and especially very proud of her business, working in a church kitchen to get started. So please help me in welcoming Carla Terrazas. All right, so this is how it's going to work. We're just going to have a few questions that we've already prepared. We have about 25 minutes for the panel, very conversational. And of course, if you could, keep it short and sweet so that everybody can get a chance to speak. We'll do our best. So we're going to start with this. Tell us about a time you had a meltdown. You had a meltdown because things were going wrong, didn't work out, whether it was where you are now or before. And this may help somebody else in the audience. So who would like to start?
One of the things that's not mentioned in my bio is I have 7 children. So
Oh
I
my
can really
goodness.
speak to the meltdown situation. It's funny because my hairdresser actually asked me, she has 1. She says, how do you do it with 7? And my husband's also a congressman here in Wisconsin, your schedule. And I said, well, about every 6 weeks, I have a really good cry. And I think that's part of it. I think it's accepting the ebbs and flows, the good, the bad. And I think really understanding that all the stress that we feel and all the things we have to do to accommodate having a family, having a husband, having a business, having all these things are actually things that are making us better people. And so ebbing and flowing with those, accepting it, I think makes us wiser. And I think it's very counterintuitive to what we're being told, which is like, as the governor said, you can't have it all at once. So acceptance, I think.
Anybody else?
I'll go second. So for me, it was in college. I actually, all throughout high school, I had planned to go to college and graduate with a degree in business. And so then I get to college and I take my first micro econ class, and for the life of me, I could never understand that class. So I would read the books that were required, and then I would go to the lecture, and it always seemed to me that the books and the lecture were completely different. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do here? So it was definitely a turning point in my life, and it was at that point where I had to really reassess what I was gonna do. And so I thought to myself, if it's not business, what is it gonna be? And luckily, two things that I learned out of that, and one was take time. So I decided to take time and decided to take a break, a semester off. And the other thing is I worked with my advisor who was there guiding me, and we kind of laid out a plan. And it was because of his help that I was actually able to graduate from college and finish with a degree. It was something that was very important to me, but it was definitely a time where I really struggled trying to figure out where I fit and what was a fit for me.
All right, we'll have one more of you share an experience, and then we'll move on to the next question.
I guess I'll take it. Mine was in college too, I think. One of the most memorable experiences. And for me, I was in my senior year. I was working about 30 hours a week. My daughter was 3 at the time, and I was taking 18 credits because I was trying to graduate. And I think the statement that you can't always have it all at once is true, but there's a lot of women out there, especially young women, who don't necessarily have a choice. And the choice is you either do it all or you don't. And so I was getting ready for a final, and I remember fainting, ending up with this really sweet, terrible bruise on my face, and showing up for the final exam looking something terrible. And then I had to show up at an event later that evening and MC, which was very exciting. So I share that story because at the time it felt terrible, it felt very difficult, and I felt like I wasn't gonna get through it. And I know that I wasn't alone. In college or throughout your life, there's times when you're gonna stumble, you're gonna fall, you're gonna make mistakes, you're gonna screw up, and it's gonna seem like the world is ending. But I'll tell you that when I look back on those moments, even though those were the meltdowns and they're the most difficult, they're the times that I felt the strongest. And the next time I came up against an obstacle or something that was challenging, I had to remind myself that I've been through it before, I can do it again. And so for those young women who are out there who are thinking, I've talked to a couple of you even today about going back to school, you've got kids at home, you're working, you can certainly do it. And I know that you have the ability to do it. So just look at those opportunities and those challenges as something that you'll reflect on in the future and know that they'll make you stronger for it.
Thank you very much, ladies. Moving on, we talk about oh yes, please. I think we talk about this all the time, especially being Latinas. Our family is so important to us. So let's talk about the family support, whether it's a spouse, a partner, parents. How has that influenced where you are today?
Well, I've been lucky enough to be married to somebody that helps me and helped me through. We moved here to Wisconsin in 1990. We had nothing but a 6-month-old baby, and so we had to find a way to grow within this beautiful state. Fortunately, we became parents of multiple children. We have 4 altogether. He was my backup. I worked around my children's schedule, but he was always there, always has been there. Currently, my husband and I run Rawhide Boys Ranch, which is an organization for adjudicated and at-risk young men. So for me, I have multiple children that we have to look, and look after and take care of. But again, having that partner helping me build my career, helping him build his career, it just worked out, and here we are. Not knowing that I would ever be sitting in the presence of these wonderful women and this amazing audience, but knowing that when you have that kind of backup, things just really work. So that's just me.
Hi, how are you? For me, it's been kind of like a big thing because we were from Mexico and we came here for kind of like a hard situation. So my mother has been like a big part of my life. Even my sisters, I have a business with them, and I think without them, I haven't been able to make my dream. So I just think I had to thank my family for all the support, and I think all the time that for my mom that we were not there because we're busy doing our dream come true. I just want to thank them because I think I will never be able to do anything like this without them.
Go ahead.
So I just wanted to give my perspective as well. And everybody knows I'm single, I have no kids, but family is very important and has been an integral in my success. I'm a state representative now with Representative Rodriguez in the legislature, but I didn't start out like that. I ran for Common Council for the Aldermanic District in the 12th District in the city of Milwaukee, which is now wonderfully represented by Alderman Jose Perez. But I ran for it way back in 2007, 2008, and unsuccessfully. And I always tell the story that when I ran for Common Council and I lost, I didn't go to my family and ask them for their blessing, ask them for their permission, so to speak. And I lost that race. When I made the decision to run for the legislature, I went to every single relative that lives here in Milwaukee and I asked for their blessing. I asked them to be a part of my team. And each and every member, from my cousins to my tias to my siblings to my mom, gave me their blessing. And they were a huge part of my team. And we had a historic victory in 2010 when I got elected, the first Latina woman elected to the legislature. And I always give that example. Your family is important to you, not just your spouse, not just your children, but the entire, and we Latinos know how important our entire extended family is to us. And they were certainly an integral part of my success in getting into the legislature.
I can definitely relate to that. I want to talk about, there's so many young Latinas in the room, and they're looking up to you right now. You know, they're looking for mentors. So what work-life balance advice can you give them? Because you're all multitasking. You mentioned 7 kids, 3 sisters. I mean, it goes all around. So give some advice to those young Latinas out there who are starting out.
Actually, when you guys leave today, you're going to get an email from this organization, and they're going to attach an article that I actually wrote for Today Moms about this work-life balance. I believe very much in a Latina feminism because I think our idea of feminism is a little bit different, I think, than the mainstream feminism. And I think it's because of family, because family is so very important and integral to what we do. The career that I have right now started after I had my 6th child. So the first thing I want to say is, you know, there are no time limits to what you want to do. Every Latina needs to get an education because that's where opportunity comes from. But then the advice that we're getting in the world right now, if you look at Sheryl Sandberg from Facebook, she says to graduates, she said this during a commencement address, she said, put your foot on the gas pedal and don't let go. And my advice is exactly the opposite advice of that. I respect her, and I think she's got a great thing going on, but there's a lot of room between Sheryl Sandberg and June Cleaver. And there's a lot of room in between there for you to develop who you want to be. And so my advice is to don't be afraid as you're, you know, first get your education, but as you move forward in your life, marriage, all these things, don't be afraid to jump off the train. The world is not the way it was 20 years ago. You can jump off that train for love, for marriage, for children, to care for an ailing parent. These are the things that last. These are the things that when you're on your deathbed are really gonna matter. And what's wonderful about this world we live in is that that train can stop and you can jump back on. And that's how you can't have it all at once, but you do have to tend to things, or else you might wake up one day and those things won't be there at the end. So that's my advice.
For me, the other advice, I guess, that I would have to offer along with that, but today it's all about elevating each other. We're women and we need to give each other a hand and elevate each other. And so one of the advice that I would say is make sure that you remember those friends that you made in your old jobs, that you keep in contact with them, because you would not imagine how many of those friends who remember me, who know my work ethic, have called me and say, hey, Jessie, there's a position in my new company. Would you be interested in this? So, look for your friends and, call them. And, when there's something new and something exciting, call them and see if maybe they would be a good fit, because, this is the way how, through those friendships, that's how you're going to find your next, great job, a job that maybe you weren't even looking for.
All right. We'll have one more, and then we'll move on to the next question.
I think balance is a misnomer. The reality is that there's sacrifice, and you're making choices throughout, and you make decisions. Para mí, mi mejor orgullo es mi hija. And so whenever I'm doing anything, I'm thinking about my daughter, and I'm thinking, what example am I setting for her? And so she's seen me through undergrad, she's seen me through law school, she's seen me work a job in between. And going back to the question about family, family's super important. I wouldn't be where I am today without my parents and their support, and without a spouse. Who I think I saw Captain Morales here earlier. My husband's a police officer for the city of Milwaukee, works a challenging shift. But fortunately, he's kind of been someone that's been very supportive. And so I think who you pick to share your life with is going to be important, because you need to have someone there that's willing to take the wheels. I think as women, for all of you who are out there, if you decide to stay home and raise your children, we need to be supportive of that and encourage our sisters who decide to do that. And for those... And likewise, for those women who decide to be CEOs and keep climbing the ladder, and a husband who stays home at work, we need to celebrate that too, and invite our men to be more helpful and chip in and encourage their women to be able to not have to, I agree with you, if you want to jump off the train, jump off, but if you want to steer that train already, right? Yeah. So all of our decisions, I think, are who we invite into our life, who's going to support us. And so there isn't going to be balance. There is going to be sacrifice. You want to do the best you can at everything that you're going to take in to do, but make sure you're surrounding yourself with people who are going to encourage you and help you be whatever it is you want to be the best at.
Excellent. I'm hoping we have a lot of questions from social media. And if we don't, I'm going to be very disappointed. But let's take a look at one of the questions and see what we can answer. So the question is, how can we encourage more Latina representation in your field? I think this is so important. Who wants to start?
So it is very important to encourage more diversity in politics. Jessie and I know that firsthand. We've never had a Hispanic in the state Senate, and I feel like we feel the ripple effects of that. We definitely are missing a voice there. And so in as much as we can get out to talk to the community, to let you know that there is a place for you in politics, and it's tough and you're in a fishbowl, but it's important that you consider that you know that each and every one of you sitting in this audience today would be a fantastic candidate for public office. And the way that I do that as a big old partisan Democrat, I am always pushing folks to consider joining me in the Democratic Party, to consider joining we have a great leadership program for women, Emerge Wisconsin, which is partisan. It's to encourage Democratic women in Wisconsin to consider running for office, train them and give them the tools that they need so that they can stand up and run for office, whether it's at the local level or at the state level, like us. And I don't know if Jessie wants to add something for the Republicans.
Well, I don't know that it needs to be partisan or anything like that, but I think, one of the things that I gotta say is that we definitely don't have enough women in office. I mean, if you look at the legislature, I mean, there are very few females in the assembly, and even less, just less, I guess, in the Senate. So we certainly need that female perspective, because females bring a different perspective, and they have a different, they've got different experiences, and those experiences are the ones that could definitely make a big change in our state. So.
I think our youth needs to understand that we are so coveted in this field of politics. Who would have thought that a Puerto Rican girl from Santurce, Puerto Rico, would have any power in educating even my own senator that I represent? So I encourage you to just come and join what we, this public service, come and try out what you can do for your community. Your voices are so needed, so desperately needed, and we don't have enough of you to be part of our team, so to speak. So try the internships that we offer. See if that might help you understand and encourage your voices again. We're just waiting for you, and we have open doors. So you know where to find me, here with the Hispanic Chamber. If you know of young ladies, young Latino men that would like to intern with us, we would love to have you and join this. Just join this incredible opportunity of changing, in which you can change life for a lifetime.
And I want to add to that, I think when I entered law school, there was a study that was done, and Latinas only made up 2% of all attorneys in the United States, 2%. It's a dismal number. And I can't tell you how many times I get a call. I just got a call last Friday looking for an attorney who was bilingual and was culturally sensitive, and we couldn't come up with a name to pass him on for that particular area of the law. So I can tell you that the need is certainly out there. I think we offer a unique perspective and a cultural sensitivity that's often necessary in all areas of the law. And so if anyone's considering it, I would encourage you to call me afterwards, and we'll sit down and talk.
All right, ladies. Well, I wish I could go over some of the other social media questions, but I'm told we are out of time. However, you have the opportunity to talk to them. They're going to be here for a little bit more. So please feel free to approach them, especially those young Latinas out there. Don't be afraid. I can tell you I was afraid when I was just graduating college, but if I didn't go speak to that person, I wouldn't have gotten my first job. I'm telling you, it's so important. So thank you so much, ladies. Amazing perspective. I already connect with some of you, but please stay in touch. We would love to tell more of your stories, okay? All right, so we're gonna move on to the next part of the program, but thank you again, ladies. And I'm gonna call, let's just give them another round of applause, why not? All right, so now I'll call Natalia back to the stage, along with Pamela Bejarano. They're going to share information about the HCCW Latina Leadership Series.
Thank you all for joining us in this wonderful event. As I mentioned, my name is Natalia Bonilla, and I'm the director of the Latina Leadership Series and Associate Director of Economics and Workforce Development at the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Next to me is my colleague, Pamela Bejarano, and she is the Associate Director of the HCCW Contact Center Services at the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Last year, during Salud, we announced the Latina Leadership Series, which is a complimentary monthly workshops where members of the community come and learn about important resources to help them grow professionally and personally. Some presenters that joined us during these monthly workshops were MATC, Cor El Centro, Guardian Credit Union, Casa Romero, Northwestern Mutual, the American Heart Association, Catholic Charities, Children's Community Health Plan, and the Journal Sentinel.
These sessions are for the community to come together and be informed about what resources they have available in the community. In these sessions, we have seen small businesses grow and become more successful. There's actually a small story. One of our business members, she owns a smaller restaurant. She came into one of these sessions and she actually shared tears with us that day. She told us that she was not connecting with the community. Her business wasn't where she wanted it to be. So after coming to she's actually not here today, I wish she was, but after coming to several of these sessions and also doing one-on-one business training with our business services, she's blooming. Her business is growing, and for all of you, I know all of you Puerto Ricans know what a tripleta is. She makes great tripletas and the best arroz con gandules I've ever tasted. And it's just a way for everybody to network and come together. Everybody's invited to come. We actually have our next Latina Leadership Workshop, which is very similar to the workshops you just experienced today. It is Thursday, June 11th, so everybody's welcome to come. If you have any questions, you can go out to our resource table, or you can also come visit us to our HCCW Workforce Development Center of Excellence, and we're located on between 10th and 11th and National. It's 1021 West National Avenue. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. All right, moving on to the awards, an exciting part of the evening where we honor and recognize two incredible women who are transforming our community and building a better future for our children and grandchildren. They've defied the odds, and they've also left a lasting mark in today's economy. So with that said, I'm going to introduce first, if Jorge could come up, Lieutenant Governor Grady Crosby, Johnson Controls, and Joaquin Altoro from Town Bank could come up as well, and they're going to be part of handing out the awards. Come on up. So we first have the HCCW Amiga Award, and this is going to be given to Cecilia Gore from the Brewers Community Foundation. So, as I mentioned, this is the first award of the afternoon. It's a very traditional award, and it goes to an exemplary non-Hispanic leader who has shown tremendous support for the Hispanic community. Cecilia Gore joined Milwaukee Brewers Baseball Club on August 13th, 2009. During the winter of 2009, she led rebranding efforts for Brewers Community Foundation, which is the charitable arm of the club, and she created several new programs to strengthen the organization's charitable initiatives through Greater Milwaukee and Wisconsin. So she previously served as a program director of the Jane Bradley Pettit Foundation, and she's an active participant in the community. And in her role right now, she leads the development of the team's philanthropic efforts through the Brewers Community Foundation. And the mission states that this foundation harnesses the pride, passion, and commitment of Brewers fans, players, and other supporters as well. So as a Milwaukee native, Gore is a graduate of Alverno College. She earned a bachelor's degree in business and professional communication and a master's degree in business administration, and she currently lives in Milwaukee with her husband, Randy Bryan. So please congratulate Miss Cecilia Gore. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I was told by my table, actually threatened, to cut my remarks in half. So I want you to know I had some lovely comments, but I will do what they say in honor of the fact that I don't think the air conditioning is working in this room today. But I am honored to receive the Amiga Award to Jorge Franco, the President and CEO of HCCW, the Board of Directors, and the Selection Committee for this wonderful recognition. I'm honored to receive it today. As I reflected on my longstanding relationship with the Chamber, the number 5 sticks in my mind. And believe it or not, if I'm not mistaken, I attended the 5th Salute to Hispanic Woman many, many years ago when Maria Cameron was the CEO. So I'm going to skip all of my remarks, and they were excellent. I want you all to know that. But I wanted to end with a poem that I think is something that would be worth sharing with you, and I'm sure that many of you have heard it before. But I heard a little bit of it in the comments, so I pull it out to share with you again today, and I hope that you're as inspired by it as I always am. It's called Our Greatest Fear by Marianne Williamson. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. With that, I thank you for recognizing me as your 2015 Amiga. I appreciate our friendship. I look forward to witnessing all that we achieve collectively in the future. Gracias.
All right, now we move on to the HCCW Latina Leader of the Year Award. So this is going to be given to Maria Watts from WIDA. Come on up. All right, well, she has a reputation for serving Milwaukee's Latino and broader community in the past 24 years. She has worked for the Wisconsin Housing and Economic Development Authority for the last 17 years. She's currently serving as a manager of community development. And over the past 2 decades, Maria has served on numerous boards of directors and is currently the vice chair of the board of directors for UMOS. She also worked as housing coordinator at Casa de Esperanza, and I just learned that in 2002, she created a Latino television show that was in Telemundo, Wisconsin. So how awesome is that? And this partnership, very cool. This partnership led to educating the Latino community residents about financial literacy and how to accumulate wealth, as well as how to help businesses grow. So that is so important to use a medium like that. In 2012, Maria began working on WIDA's Transform Milwaukee initiative, a public and private effort that focuses on restoring economic vitality to Wisconsin's largest city. So congratulations, Maria.
Well, thank you. I want to thank the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce for this great honor to be here today. And, you know, when Jorge called me, I was so excited. I was just so happy, and I could not believe it because, I mean, I know all of you leaders who are so great. So, you know, I was excited and happy, but I couldn't help to stop and reflect on where I come from and, you know, how blessed I am. And I want to start by thanking God for all the blessings that I have had, and especially the blessing of having such a wonderful family, wonderful friends who consider them my extended family, and all you partners here who had always supported me and had confidence in me. And so that's something that I cannot thank you enough. So I want to make sure that you realize that this is very important for me, and I will work very hard to not disappoint you, and I thank you for your support and your confidence again. So I was asked to kind of give a message to the Latina community, and I couldn't help to think about, after working for the community for over 2 decades, to kind of make sure that you realize that relationships is everything. And to do that, we really had to network big time. So never waste an opportunity when you are in events like this to really network and build these relationships. And then once you have it, you want to make sure that you use these relationships to work in collaboration with them and to leverage knowledge and resources that we have to really make a difference in our communities, because that's what we're here for. So by ending, I want to kind of thank all you Latinas, and I want to remind you all that we are the Latina Women of the Year. I just happen that I'm just receiving it for you. Again, todas somos la Latina líderes del año. So, gracias por ese reconocimiento tan grande. Gracias. Thanks a lot from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
All right, well, before we wrap up, Erica Steele would like to come up and give the closing remarks, but I'd like to thank you for not only coming here today, but for networking and for really helping out and becoming mentors for other people as well. So thank you for having me, for inviting me, and here's Erica Steele.
Thank you, Sandra. And one more round of applause for Sandra. Sandra does a phenomenal job. We are so pleased to have Sandra at multiple of our events, and especially here at this event today, as it is the Salute to Hispanic Women, because she represents that role so well in terms of success of our Latinas. And for our closing remarks, I would just like to keep you in the loop in terms of what are some of the happenings of the Hispanic Chamber. As you know, an important part of our mission and what we do is connect the community and connect with resources, connect with individuals, connect so that we can share and grow as a community and as an economy. And so please stay tuned. We have some upcoming events. Firstly, we have our HCCW Education Fund, Philip Ariola Scholarship Luncheon that is coming up very soon, so please stay tuned for details. We also celebrate our 29th annual HCCW Fiesta Tailgate with live Latin music celebration. We'll also have what we call Nuestra Cocina, our kitchen experience, where you can experience Latin food and culture. And we thank Miller Coors, who's here today with us, and also a big part of our Fiesta Tailgate. That is Saturday, August 8th. So please join us. It's at the Miller Park Stadium. We'd love to see you at Fiesta Tailgate for another round of fun like we had today, and probably more beer. More beer than today, I would say, than we had at our tasting. And also, we have our upcoming HCCW Golf Classic that promises to surprise and amaze as we deploy this outing's exciting new format with live Latin music reception and awards dinner. It'll be at the Grand Geneva Resort in September, so please stay tuned. And lastly, we have our first annual HCCW CEO Economic Leadership Summit under the leadership of HCCW CEO Leadership Committee co-chairman Alex Molina-Roli from Johnson Controls, which is an honor to have him a part of that team. So there will be more details about that upcoming leadership summit as well. So again, we thank you for taking the time out of your busy days to unite, to come together as a community, to share your stories, share your experience, because ultimately that is what helps us grow both personally and professionally. And I hope that you leave today's event feeling motivated and inspired from our panelists, from our workshop leaders. Truly, their words, their experience has given me personally, and I hope the rest of this room,